There we are. All right. When you drive your car, maybe from one town to another town or one location to another location, you may drive at high speed or high intensity. You should be driving with full awareness and concentration. And you use your mind to turn one way or another. And when you arrive at your location, you turn your car off and go about the rest of your day. If you were to leave the car running, then it would have no rest and soon burn fuel and energy. It may also do some damage as you run the car for long periods of time, even if there is no movement. The car is doing activity it is not meant to do. And of course, if the car is not working correctly, then other dramas may occur. So you can see it is not wise to leave the car running. Rather, it should be turned off, left alone, and then only turned back on when it is so required. And this would make perfect sense. But the analogy, of course, is not about a car. The analogy is about your mind. Your mind should be used for the activities of the day, and then should be directed for whatever is useful. And then it should be allowed to turn off, to rest. You see, the mind is like the car in other ways. You do not say you are the car. You say you have a car. It's the same with your mind. You have a mind, but you are much more. So how do you give rest to your mind? How is it cleansed? How is it washed? How do you make it your servant? Now, of course, there are some ways that you can do this. One way is to direct it only for things which are useful. If you are so inclined, maybe study of scripture, or study of what truly matters to you in your life. Meditation, the use of a mantra, the awareness of what is beyond the mind, the awareness of truth, that you are not the mind, you just have the use of it for a while. An untamed mind will go to mischief. There is a story of a disciple of a holy man who is sent on an errand into the village. And when he gets into the village, he does his task and then notice a wedding ceremony. And all were celebrating the happy times of the wedding occasion. And the disciple, needing rest before he began his journey back, sat near a well and watched the ceremony and soon began to daydream and wondering what it was like and how he would live if he was married. And he pictured an occasion when he was lying in bed next to his wife. And in his dream state, his wife said, "Would you move over a little bit?" And he did, but as a consequence, fell into the well. And the villagers came along and rescued the man from the well. And he told them the story of how he fell into the well in broad daylight. And he resolved then to bring his mind under control, so it must not ever deliver him into mischief. Now, although this is a rather simplistic story, within your mind, then you can quite easily fall off the path that you were hoping to attain. You can lose sight of your direction. You can fall into a well of your own making as you begin to believe the ramblings of the mind. Although it was somewhat humorous that he dreamt that his wife said, "Move over." And physically he did and fell into the well. But you have done far worse. You have followed your ramblings of your mind and let go of your inner truth. You have chased desire, ambition, accomplishment. You have chased and withheld agitation at the expense of peace. I talk to you now down the well. You are already there. My role is to bring you out of the well and show you that it was all a dream. So rest your car. Rest your mind. Don't let it take you down another well. Use it for your own good, for your sense of direction, to lead you to where you must go, if you must use your mind. There is more to know beyond what the mind can remember. Observe yourself in your day and you will see that your mind is taking you down another well. Is what you see true, or is what you see false? The truth is always constant. It is never changing. and spirit are truth. Hence, we are never changing, and our nature is immortality, eternity, the beings of truth and light and love. So in the coming classes and groups, we will talk about the mantra to be used. We'll talk about the way the mind will be still and the possibilities that this will arise. We will talk about situations and problems, how to go past hurdles, and to always come home to the truth first. So in a moment, we will have some questions that you may wish to ask. But before then, I believe we have some names on the healing list. May I have them now, please, Brenda?
Yes. Rose Frazier, Erica, Mary, Joe Frederick, Lena Maltabano, Cassio, Fabio, Angela Cristina de Toledo Pisa, Taylor, Anna, Sonia, Jeanette, Jason and Belinda, Teresa, Chris and Howard, Rhonda, Liz, Mike Eskins, Tracy, Eric, Stephen and Matthew, Marianne and Jody, Jill, Katie, Mitch, Louise and John, Matt S., Priscilla and her sister, Janet and Michael and Mike Pizzuto and their son Nick, and dogs Parker, Paisley, and Jules. Thank you.
It is interesting that two people could ask the same question and get very different answers. Because one needs directing one way and another in a very different way. One has one degree of understanding and another has a totally different point of view. So we work with the person that asks the question, and we answer appropriately for that person. At times, the answer can be more general or generic, to be given to the multitude rather than the individual. So do not be afraid to chase the question and answer that you need. It may be answered by others, but it may not be appropriate for you as well. As some people you would say to sit still and others to go forward. As is appropriate for the person. So Brandon, do we have a first question, please?
Yes, we do. This comes from Malada.
Hi, Ignatius.
Good morning, my dear.
So my question is about receiving and somehow holding on to the ailments of others, whether they be physical or mental, without knowing that you are doing so. If there's anything that Spirit can advise about that, it just seems that I am taking on others' physical ailments without even trying to do so. And I'm doing my best to release those using Reiki healing, but it seems like they're sticking. So I wondered if you had advice.
The world that you see in front of you, the universe, is the play of the mind. It is created by the mind through karma and also the desires of the world. And the desire that you have to heal, to appease, to love, to care for others means that then you are given the opportunity to provide those gifts and those skills to other people. And it comes to you, and those in need will come at time. And when they come, is it true that they are sick or not? Of course, it is the viewpoint that is important. One body viewing another body can see sickness. And one mind seeing another mind may see confusion. And yet it is all still part of the play. It is created in front of you on the screen of your mind, all the circumstances of life. And when you are involved in that play, everything seems so real. And you fall down the well. And then in taking part and playing your role fully, you give healing and as a consequence may retain energy of others. And the movement of energy around you will also then create your own desire or karma. Of course, the desire may be to heal the world. And the karma may be that you must give to others as you once you had taken from others, for example. But are you in the play? Are you lost in the play, or are you observing the play? So the correct way is to come into the play your part, and then walk off stage, taking off your costume. Now you are here to play the role fully. And while on stage, you should play it fully. You should give, you should care, you should love, and you should do whatever action is required. And you should do it with an open heart, a clear mind. You should do it without the seeking of any recompense, but that recompense will come. After all, it is still karma. And you should work your hours from 9 until 5, and longer as so is required. But you should leave your office door and close that door behind you. take off your costume and see that you have had a good day at work. You see, in your case, you are also surrounded by other people bringing their mental work home. And you can see within their lives the agitations, the overthinking, the play beyond the close of the play. And you can see within the lives of other family members how this can affect their health and well-being. You know who I am talking about.
Yes.
And you will see it within their lives. It is in your ancestry. It is in your current level of connection. And you can also see it in your descendants below you. In this case, you should play your play. You should give fully. And then you should leave the stage to rest the engine of your car and your mind. At times, if you do not do this, walk off the stage and wear another costume or take some rest, then, of course, there is no closing time. And the energy continues after the closing time and date. And you retain and you hold on to. You should step back and observe what you are doing. You should heal, you should give, you should care, and then step back and see your time of healing is closed now. And your time, let us say, of parenting or caring or being a sister or a daughter or a mother. That is now the new costume that should be worn. There is another way. And the two ways can be glued together. And that is, you can look internally and say, why is this my karma? At times you can get very satisfactory answers, and other times you will never know the answer, as it may have come from times long ago. But are you seeing the truth? Or are you seeing the play? And in doing the letting go and the changing and the exploration, then there is an opportunity to change if you wish to change. Of course, for some people, they do like to hold on. And some people like to hold on to pain or problem. And in this case, they should give over all the retained energy and thoughts to the Creator. Just say, it is time now for me to close my office door and to take my new role. I give this pain, this worry, this hurt to you, for you to resolve. And I take my new role. And if you are sufficient in your intent, then the Creator will take it from you. And you can begin your new role clear. Remember, the external world is a reflection of your desire and your karma. And what you see, you either leave that karma in the world or you take it from one life into the next. So you must find your way of closing your office door. And of course, I mean that very figuratively. So you should gain control of your mind. And in closing to one occurrence, it should start the next occurrence or the next requirement on your request. So a good way is to have a deliberate break between, let us say, closing your office door and opening your family door. You leave one costume, you have a break, and you wear the next costume. When there is an excess of energy, it is very good to shake off that energy. If that is appropriate, through exercise, through meditation, through movement. Just movement of the body can move energy that is stuck in different locations. Awareness of that energy being stuck is, of course, the first stage. And you have passed that test. It's now what you do about it. So the opportunity to stop something, to wait, and then to start the next thing means that you can turn the engine off on the car, go for a walk in the park, and then turn the engine back on again and travel in a very different direction, if you wish. Do you understand, my dear? Have I helped?
Yes, that's extremely helpful. Thank you so much, Ignatius. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
We see into your heart, my dear. And we see into your heart and we know that there is some difficulty, shall we say. Be the observer of that difficulty. Bring the still mind to it. And the answer will come to you there. Let me tell you this way. It is a short story which will sum up the healing difficulty, if that is your correct term, and then your interior difficulty, which is a different thing. Now, this is the truth. Desire gives constriction. Desirelessness gives freedom. Desire is the creator. Desire is the destroyer. Desire is the universe. Seek also what are your desires and how they can limit your performance. Seek your stillness, and the creation can be made out of love, not out of the running of the mind. Return always to spirit, the truth, the peace, the stillness. And your answer will be given there. Come back into your namesake, your Kripa. And you will know the truth. God bless you, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Is there another question, Brand?
Yes, there is from Raylene.
Hi, Ignatius.
Good morning.
Hello. I had a question about my doorway. Did I do it right? And is there any advice I can have on that, on what I'm practicing?
Indeed, my dear. When there is judgment, there is doubt. When there is truth, there is stillness. And when there is stillness, the truth can be revealed. So you're asking about your practice. In returning to the state of pure truth, in returning to the stillness and the looking inwards to find yourself, then if the mind is used, then you will create accordingly. So you must come into the still part of your understanding. Of course, that is not an easy thing to do for many, to return the mind into one of clear water, or the diamond, if we wish to go back to that analogy. As you go further into your journey, your mind will show more resistance, as the mind likes to bring up to you occurrences and problems and situations for you to review. Now, there is a story which may help you. It's a story about a man who was given a ghost for him to take care of. And the ghost said to the man that if ever I have nothing to do, I will consume you. The man, of course, gave the ghost many different activities to do. Fetch water, prepare food. And each time the ghost came back to the man, and the man had to think of a new activity. Until one day, he gave the ghost a role to perform, and that was go get a bamboo stick, a very tall bamboo stick, and plant it in the middle of the garden. And this the ghost did. And he said to the ghost, if I do not give you anything particular to do, I want you to climb to the top of the stick and then come back down, and then repeat it until I give you something that I must then ask you to do. And the ghost walked or climbed up the stick and down, up and down, until within a very short period of time, the ghost became tired and sat at the bottom of the stick and was still. Now, the analogy of the story is the ghost is like your mind. It will take over you and take over your being and take over all that you have to do in life, unless you give it something useful to do, or a distraction in this case. So you can see the man has a very busy mind, and it must always be maintained. So he gave his mind a mantra. And within a short period of time, the mantra quietened the mind. Now, the activity that you have chosen to do goes beyond the formal time period of the activity. It appears that it must be one way, but it does not end as, let us say, the alarm goes. The time is finished. The looking within, the journey inwards, must be repeated until it is habit. And this is what man struggles with. They expect to get an answer and to receive the results by the end of the day. But it is an inward looking and a repetition over hours and days and months and years, so that then the dawning of clarity becomes established, that all parties to this activity know of the activity and the progress and the development and the technique. Your internal viewpoint must be retained on what is important. And it goes beyond the time period you set. When there is judgment, there is no peace. When there is desire, there is no end. When there is peace, there is contentment. When there is contentment, there is peace. When there is desirelessness, there is freedom. Practice an activity. If you wish for 1 hour or 1 day or 1 weekend or 1 week or 1 month, for 1 hour, be desireless. Accept whatever comes. And see if you then have a feeling of contentment or not. And if you do, go for 2 hours. And then you can return to desire any time that you like. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Ignatius.
May I have another question, Brand?
Yes, up next is Deborah.
Good evening, dear. You have an inquiring mind, do you not?
Yes, I do. I thank you for the opportunity to ask a personal question. The past several years, I've been very dedicated and I believe very disciplined in developing. And my personal life has not allowed me the same opportunities. The past couple of months, I've been derailed. And I'm now in a situation where I want to resume, and I'm aware of what appears to be resistance on my part. I am not certain whether I am trying to understand that there's something else I ought to be doing, whether I should force myself to, or just trust that it will happen as it's supposed to and just let it all go.
So your question is, what should you do? Is that correct?
I'm aware that I'm not able to pick up where I left off, and I don't know why, what if something is happening, if there's something else I should be doing or need to look at.
Would you believe, or can you accept, that your true nature and what you have been searching for is your spiritual self? Can you accept that?
Yes, I definitely can.
And then can you accept there are times when the humanness or the life being lived seems rather dominant?
Yes.
And seems very all-encompassing, doesn't it?
Yes.
And then because of that, if I am reading your question correctly, it becomes harder to return to either the pathway or the truth of you being at spirit, being formless and eternal. You see, what has happened? If you are formless and eternal, then you can never not be spirit. But of course, you can lose your focus and forget about the spirit and believe that you are human. And when this occurs, then the humanness takes over with all its problem and drama and karma and desire. But how can this be if you've never stopped being spirit, or you cannot stop being spirit? You see, you've lost focus, and you have covered over your spirit and have now lived human. It is impossible for you to leave your spiritual nature, but it is possible for you to lose focus and to concentrate on something different. So you have not left spirit. You just perceive that you have left spirit. Spirit has not left you. You just perceive that you are void of spirit for a short period of time. And then the world becomes very real once more. And there is much to be dealt with, or to be calculated, or to achieve. But you have not left spirit. Just that your mind has looked in other directions. Your mind has looked at that and not this. Your mind has left the Garden of Eden, has bit the apple, and has walked out the gate. And now you have knowledge of good and evil. But the truth is, you haven't left anything at all. You've been covered over, but your truth still remains with you. So you can see that the truth is you haven't lost anything. You are as rich today as you was yesterday and as you will be tomorrow. And of course, I am not talking rich of pocket. The truth is you are already where you are trying to be. You just need to wake up. Now, many people in these times need the solace of some dedicated activity. And of course, there are many activities, meditation being one, prayer being another. And of course, many, many more. And it is important at these times for these people to stay on their track by being with others of like mind. You see, others have also hidden their nature and have fallen down their well. And when there is a multitude of people down the well, one can help another to get out. It is rather like sharing a problem. It feels so much easier, so less heavy when somebody else also recognizes the problem. So there are times when people face drama and trouble and they go inwards and they withdraw from the world and they say the world would not understand. But these are the times where they should go out into the world and find the right person, the right situation. And once it is found, then they should be together. This is the point of Sangha, the point of community. My dear, you have not lost anything. Your mind is lost in the jungle, but your spirit is still there. So at best, it is comforting to know and to hear my voice saying, I am here. Within any relationship, let us say between husband and wife or between two friends, the best words are, I love you and I am here. It does not mean one will alleviate the problems from another, but it does mean I will stand by your side. And for you, my dear, I am here. I stand by your side because I come into your dream to wake you up. To say, I have never left you. Even if you think you leave me, I will never leave you. So find your practice you enjoy. See everything else as your play. And notice that you come home to peace. The exercise of 1 hour of being desireless can help. And see if you can find us that quickly, within 1 hour. You've had much to think about. You have much that you have had to do. Take a rest from your play and sit by my side. Do you understand?
Yes, and I thank you. It's very comforting, and I will certainly join with you. Thank you.
Now, my dear, you have no choice but to join with me at some stage. I am there for you now, and I will be nowhere else. God bless you, my dear.
And you, Ignatius. Thank you.
Brandon, do we have time for one more?
Yes, we do. This one comes from Taylor.
Hi.
Taylor, my dear, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling much better today, actually. Yeah, big difference.
Isn't that
from the
nice?
last days. Yeah, thank you. So my question is, I've been having a lot of strange experiences when I first wake up from my sleep state. And most of them are like wonderful, amazing experiences. And just a couple times I had like a sleep paralysis, which was a little bit scary. But I'm wondering if this is related to trance. And sometimes I sit in trance where I'm sleeping, and I'm wondering if I should not be doing that.
Thank you. Whenever the mind is still, other possibilities and opportunities are available to them. So, of course, in other practices, then the mind is requested to be at still, and when the mind achieves it, then there is greater knowing and greater knowledge. So you tend to know more things when the mind has some stillness, rather than, say, the limited nature of just one viewpoint. So interestingly, your experiences happen at the edge of sleep. For some, it happens going in, some happens coming out. And in these experiences, then quite commonly, then there is still the residual experience of spirit that can linger within the being. So as your mind becomes still, then it is open, it is, if you like, pliable, it is soft, it is easily impressed upon. So you can then gain experiences of other worlds or other, let's say, mythical creatures, if you want, but also experiences of beauty and awe. So in your case, as you sit in that brief glimmer of mere seconds of openness, then these images get given to you because you have the ability to begin a journey that is non-physical. And you can visit elsewhere. And you can even control this by setting an intention before you sleep. Set the intention, sleep, wake up. But again, if the desire creeps in, then its degree of truth will be tarnished. So it is correct that you are saying, is it because of trance? But really it is because of the still mind, regardless of the modality that you are practicing. So you sit on a choice. Do you want to remove it or do you want to magnify it? And of course, magnify it within controlled situations would be most beneficial. So that is what you could do. So you must decide in your free will to remove these visions or to use these visions. But it is a natural part that a still mind will gain impressions, and the still mind can remember more than a busy mind. Do you understand my answer?
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, you must pick this choice. Now, you may notice that these impressions may pick up or be more intense when there is stress in the being, excess energy within the mind, and that excess energy must be released. So at a point of silence, it can come as strange occurrences. So you may find benefits in, before going to sleep, having a brief period of meditation for, let's say, 10 minutes. So again, to use the answer from the other questioner, close one door, have some rest before opening another door. Or in your case, closing one door, letting go of your day and the energy in your mind, and then obtaining a better night's sleep. And then the intention of using or removing the visions that you have.
Okay, thank you.
Simple act of observation first, intention second, results next. God bless, my dear.
Thank you. God bless you.
Brandon, I believe we are close to time.
You are correct, my friend.
Well, let us take more questions next week. I bid you all well, and I ask you all to come home to us. May peace be within your hearts. God bless you.